If you've ever felt like you're just guessing when you price your work, this is the video for you. We're gonna do this for logo design specifically, but these principles work for any type of creative services. This video is gonna be super valuable for you if you're a freelancer or a creative agency owner. I'm gonna give you my entire pricing methodology, and we're gonna price a logo. So my first paid logo project ever, all the way back in 1997, I designed this logo for 200 bucks. I had no idea what to charge. I look back on it and I think I probably spent 40 hours on this project, which is like $5 an hour. Not too great, could have been mowing lawns and made more money, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to charge things, so I was just guessing. I was guessing based on no knowledge of anything. And in this video, I'm gonna give you all the knowledge you need to be able to price your work properly. Price it profitably, price it in a way that you can win these projects, and price it in a way that makes sense for you and your client. Now, after that $200 logo freelance job for $5 an hour, I progressed in my career. I oversaw 2 major redesigns and branding projects for Fox when I was a creative director at Fox. And then at my agency, we were charging tens of thousands of dollars for branding projects. So I've seen logo design and branding from every angle and every price point, from the low to the mega brands. Okay, let's dig into pricing a logo. The client comes to you and they say, hey, I need a new logo for my business. And it doesn't matter if it's a scuba diving business or if it's a sushi restaurant or if it's a skydiving business. It doesn't matter what it is. From an industry standpoint, this is how you can go about pricing that logo for any type of business. Now, my pricing methodology is based on 3 different variables. We have production cost, we have market value, and we have client budget. And you need to understand these 3 variables before you can price your work. Production cost is how much is it going to cost you to produce the thing you're producing. And in this video, we're talking about logos. How much is it going to cost you to produce the logo? Market value is what do other people like you charge for this same type of work? And client budget is how much does the client even want to spend on this thing? How much money do they have set aside for this logo project? Now we're gonna dig into each of these in detail, and we're gonna price a faux logo project so you can see exactly how this is done. Let's start with logo design production cost. And we calculate our production cost because it's the floor of our negotiation. We want to know how much is this thing costing us to produce so that we bid higher than that number. So we're bidding it into a profitable range because we know our bottom. If we bid it below that, we're in the unprofitable zone, and we want to be profitable on the work that we're producing for our clients. The best way to accurately calculate your production cost is to break down your project into phases, rounds, and meetings. Let's look at how this is exactly done so that we can gauge how long we're going to spend on this project and then know what our floor pricing is. So what I have on the screen here is the first phase of a logo project. This is similar to the processes that I used at my agency. I watered it down a little bit for the sake of this video, but what you want to do is break it into these phases. So phase 1, we're going to call research and concept. And inside of research and concept, we're going to break down all of the rounds and meetings that we have. First, we're going to have a kickoff meeting, and we're going to spend 1 hour on that. Then we're going to create a mood board based on the information we extracted in the kickoff meeting. We're going to spend 2 hours working on mood boards. Then we're going to present the mood boards to the client. We're going to spend an hour on a call with them presenting it. And then we're going to proceed to concept sketches. We got a little bit of feedback from the client. We're going to go to concept sketches. We're going to spend 4 hours on concept sketches. Then we're going to present the concept sketches to the client. We're going to spend an hour there. And then we're going to revise them for 3 hours. And then we're going to present the revisions to the client for 1 hour. So phase 1 1 is estimated to be 13 hours. Phase 2 is the primary logo design. We've gotten through the sketch phase. We kind of have a good understanding of where we're going to go in this logo direction. Now we're going to actually turn it into vector and work on it in Adobe Illustrator, whatever software you love to use. Round 1, we're going to give them 3 different design options. We're going to take that concept sketch and we're going to work it in 3 different ways. We're going to spend 4 hours on that. Then we're going to present the primary logo options to the client. We're on a 1-hour call. Then we're going to revise one of the directions. We're going to spend 3 hours working on the revisions. Then we're going to present the revise to the client for an hour. Then we're going to work on the final revision to that primary logo for 2 hours. And then we're going to present that to the client. Phase 2, we estimate to be about 12 hours. Then we go to phase 3, which is the logo family design. We're going to take that logo and we're going to turn it into the small versions, the icon only, the white on black, the black on white, the 2-color version, whatever versions we need, stacked, horizontal, etc. And this we're going to design in about 3 hours. We're going to spend, estimated, to take that round 1, take that primary logo, turn it into the logo family. We're going to present that to the client. We're going to revise the logo family for another 3 hours, maybe make a little mini style guide or something, depends on your process. Then we're going to present the revisions to the client, and then we're going to package up all the final files and deliver them to the client in 2 hours. That gives us 10 hours for phase 3, giving us a total time of 35 hours. Now, what happens here, when we break it down by rounds and meetings, we can start to look at the actual amount of time that we're spending on a project like this. If somebody asks you, hey, how long does it take you to design a logo? You may sit back and say, well, I don't know, maybe a day, day and a half. When in reality, when you add up the meetings and you add up the revisions, you're probably spending a lot more time on it. So breaking it down into the minutia helps you get to an accurate estimated quantity of time that you're going to spend on a project like this. Now we take our 35 hours, we multiply it by our hourly rate. Let's just say that that's $50 an hour, giving you a production cost of $1,750. Now this is not the price you charge your client. We are not billing our client by the hour. We're using this to know the floor for our negotiation. We know that we have to be higher than that floor to be profitable. That's why we calculate production costs, and that's why we calculate it first. It is not because we're going to charge them $1,750 for this logo. We still have 2 variables that we need to consider: market value and client budget. Let's move on to market value. Now, like I said, market value is what other people like you charge for this same type of work. And in order to understand what other people like you charge, you have to do some research. You have to be in tune with what other people like you are charging. And there is a ton of information out there for you to look at. I did a Google search, just looking up logo design prices, and found a few articles that I'm going to show you the data on, but there are literally millions, actually a billion plus results when you look up something like logo design pricing. A billion something results on Google. You don't need a billion results to understand what the market's charging for logos. You just need a handful of articles to be able to understand where these price points are in the industry. Okay, let's look at some of these examples. This first one is from the website, howmuchdoesalogocost.com. Hey, kudos to the person who thought to snag that domain and promote their content through that domain. Good job. But let's look at this. In this article, how much does a logo design cost? We're going to find this data. In there, they say a professional agency is going to be $1,000 to $5,000. An independent firm, $500 to $3,000. A freelancer, $250 to $2,500. An offshore designer, $100 to $250. And a world famous designer, $1 million. When we're talking about market value, we're talking about you comparing yourself to other people like you. So if you're a world famous designer, then compare yourself to other world famous designers and charge $1 million plus. But if you're an independent little agency, 2-3 people, then maybe you need to be in the $500 to $3,000 range for a logo. Now, this is just one data set. We're going to look at a few more because this isn't the end all be all. It's not definitively the data we should use because there are a lot more articles and information out there where people are sharing comparing prices. This one on designevo.com. Found this, how much does a professional logo cost in 2021? And here's the data set that we get from that. They say a decent logo design is $100 plus. An intricate logo from a freelancer is $400 to $15,000. That's quite a spread. And from a design agency, $5,000 to $1 million plus. So they're giving us a really broad data set as well, but we're starting to see some similarities. We're seeing some things, the 5,000 number, the 400 number, $500 number. We're in those kinds of ranges on the last article as well. We're just getting a sense by looking at these sites. We're getting a sense of what other people are charging for this kind of stuff. Let's look at one more article that gets a lot more detailed. This article is on my buddy's website. Jacob Cass runs justcreative.com, and he's got a great article here that I think he updates pretty regularly, because this one says that it's the September update, and it's much more detailed in the logo pricing information that he has on there. And he knows this industry. He's a logo designer. That's his core business. So here's the data set from Jacob's article. Do-it-yourself logo makers, $0 to $50. Logo template, $5 to $100. Logo contests or crowdsourcing, $50 to $500. Offshore designer, $100 to $250. Beginning freelancer, $100 to $1,000. Now that makes me feel better, because I was a beginning freelancer when I designed that American Evergreen logo for $200, but you look at this, mine was 26 years ago, and I'm still in the range, so I guess it wasn't so bad. The $5 an hour, that part was bad, but not so bad. I wasn't so off base. Experienced freelancer, $1,000 to $5,000. Renowned freelancer, $5,000 to $15,000. Small design studio, $5 to $30. Mid-size agency, $5 to $50. That's where my agency was. We were in that $5 to $50 range. We would do logo design projects. It would be a branding project. If we did brand strategy with it, some of those projects would be 30, 40, 50 grand. Without brand strategy, just design and style guide, logo family and stuff, we'd be in that 15 to 25 range, depending on the client. A branding agency, 50 grand to 100 grand, and renowned branding agency, 100 grand to $1 million plus, world famous designer, 100 to $1 million plus. So this is the data set that we get from justcreative.com. Now we've got a sense of what other people are charging, and we want to compare who we are to the other people that are like us. You can't compare yourself to a world famous designer if you're not a world famous designer, because they're selling based on their reputation, and you don't have that reputation as power in your negotiation. So compare yourself to people like you. There's another thing that I want to show you here. It's this book comes out every couple years. I shout this book out quite a bit. It's a must-have if you're a creative entrepreneur of any kind. It's the Graphic Artists Guild Handbook of Pricing and Ethical Guidelines, and they issue a new version every few years, and it has tons of pricing survey information in it and tons of other good business nuggets that will help your business. So check that out as well for some market value information. There are some other factors that affect market value as well. So we're looking at the survey numbers, but we also have to know that these factors affect market value, the economic conditions that we're in. If you're in a recession and people are tight on money, it's going to affect what you're able to charge for projects. Your work quality, your client's location, your client's size. A multi-billion-dollar client will spend more on a logo than a mom and pop bootstrap startup. The client's perception of you. If they perceive you in high esteem, then you're going to be able to charge more. It affects the market value. Your location, are you in a small market, big market? LA designer can charge more than a designer in Podunk, USA. The value of the logo to the client. And it's hard to gauge what that value is, but we do know that a logo that is going to be seen by millions and millions of people has more value to a client than a logo that's going to be seen only by a few local people at a coffee shop. So it affects the market value. And then the size of your business. Are you a big agency, small agency, etc.? So these things affect market value. Now, with this in consideration, let's go and determine that we looked at our surveys, we compared our price to other people like us, and we're gonna give ours a market value of $2,500. $2,500 is our market value number. Now we have two of the variables taken care of, and we're gonna go to the third variable, client budget. And client budget's all about how much does this client even want to spend on this thing. We have to take this into consideration when we're pricing our work so that we can price it in a winnable way. Now, I have a handful of content out there floating around about how do you get the client's budget. I have a video on YouTube here. I have content in my courses. I have content on my Instagram. I'm just going to give you 2 ways for this video. How do you get the budget from a client? Well, the first way is to ask the client. Just ask them. And the way to ask them is to sit in a meeting, have the discovery conversation, ask them about their business, ask them about their problems and pains and challenges, ask them what they hope to accomplish with this logo redesign. And after you've asked a lot of smart questions, you finish with one final question. Is there a budget you are trying to work with for this project? Is there a budget number you're trying to hit? So ask the client, and some clients will give you information and other clients won't. They'll say something like, I don't really want to divulge our budget. We're getting some bids from some other people and we just want to see where the prices come in. That'll be a common response that you'll get. And in that situation, you do not want to proceed forward if you don't have a sense of their budget. Because if they're shopping for a $50 logo and you're going to be $5,000, you need to know that now in discovery, not after you spend the time making a proposal for them. So we're going to get a sense of their budget by floating a price range. And the way to do that is this. Projects like this for a client similar to you have ranged in price from $5,000 on the high end and on the lower end, $3,500. Is that a budget range that you're comfortable with? Now you give them the high number first, then you give them the low number. It's called price anchoring. I share content about that. There's a lot of content on it. It's an old school sales trick, but say the high number first, give them the low number, and then get a sense from them if that's a range that they're comfortable with. Some clients will say, whoa, that's way more. That's way more. We were actually hoping to do something for $500. Now, you didn't waste your time bidding a project that had too low a budget. Other clients will say, yeah, okay, I'm comfortable in that number. And if they give you that information, then you can proceed to a proposal and not waste your time because you're in the ballpark of where this price needs to be to win. So let's say that we asked our client, what do you want to spend? And they give us back the number. You know what? We want to be $2,000 or less. Somewhere in that range is what we have budgeted. So now we have 3 variables. We have $1,750, we have $2,500, and we have $2,000. And now we can go and choose our price based on our analysis of those 3 variables. So let's move into how do you do that analysis and choose that final price. The first thing you do is you're gonna set up these numbers in hierarchical order. You're gonna put the high number on top, you're gonna put the middle number in the middle, duh, and you're gonna put the bottom number in the bottom, duh. Now we have those in hierarchical order, $2,500, $2,000, $1,750, and then we're gonna fill in the gaps of potential prices in between those numbers. We could charge $2,450, $2,350, $2,250, $2,150, $2,050, $1,800, $1,750 if we choose. We can choose from any of the numbers in this spectrum. Now, choosing the number has a ton to do with the situation that your business is in. Let's look at a few different situations of what is going to influence your final price choice. Let's say that you need the work bad. You haven't worked on a project for 3 months. You're starting to eat through your savings. You really need to land this. Well, let's bid it at $1,800, just above production cost. We know that we're kind of flat on our profitability. We're gonna make a little profit, but we're gonna come in under their budget in a way that we can win this project because we really need it. You analyze the data and you see that it's a difficult client. You're like, man, there's some red flags here. I'll work with them. Like the red flags aren't so bad that I don't want to work with them, but it could be a little bit challenging. I'm gonna bid it up at the top of market value, that higher market price. So we're gonna put it at $2,500. If the client wants to work with me, they need to pay the pain in the butt fee. Or maybe you're super busy, you already have a ton of work, but if the price is right, you'll do this work, you'll stay up all night, you'll work on the weekend if it's profitable enough to you. So maybe you're gonna bid it a little bit over their budget because you don't care if you lose it, but you're gonna get a little bit of a premium if they do choose you, $2,150. And what about you have heavy competition? You're sitting in the discovery meeting, the client says, well, we're getting bids from 5 other designers. You can sit back and say, oh, 5 other designers, this is gonna be competitive. competitive. I better come in under their budget enough that I can win this thing and be a more attractive financial option. So you come in at $1,900, under their budget, but still high enough over your production costs that you're happy to do the work. The point is that your situation affects the final price that you choose. The situation you're in with this specific project and what your business is doing right now today. So let's say that this is heavy competition and we decide we're gonna choose $1,900 for our price. We did our analysis. We analyzed the 3 variables. We analyzed the situation our business is in. We're gonna choose $1,900 for the price. Now, how do you know if the price you chose is the right price for this project? There are 3 questions you can ask to validate your price. Question number 1 relates to production cost. Am I comfortable with my profit margin? Am I happy with the profit margin? And we know that our floor, our production cost was $1,750. We're at $1,900. Okay, I'm happy with my profit margin. Next question, do other people like me charge similar prices? Am I in the market value? That's the market value question. And we know that that's true. Yes, other people like me charge that because I looked and did my research. I know that other people like me are charging similar prices to that. And then the client budget question, is my price in a range that my client will approve? Well, yeah, we know that the client's budget was $2,000. We're coming in at $1,900. Okay, I checked each box and I know that $1,900 is the price that I'm comfortable with for this project. I'm confident in that price. I know I'm gonna be profitable and I know that it's gonna be winnable. And I know that I'm not doing damage to the market value. I'm not coming in so deep below market value that I'm undervaluing the service that I'm giving to my client. Okay, so that's the pricing strategy. That's how you go about pricing a logo. And that pricing strategy works for any type of service. It will work for your websites. It'll work for your print projects. It'll work for UX. You can do this assessment and this analysis. And in the future, you're not gonna have to write all the numbers down and you're not gonna have to go and do the online research and things. You're not gonna have to do that because you're gonna have this sense from having bid so many projects. You're gonna have a good sense of what your clients are gonna say yes to and what is going to work for your business. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that winnable price that's also profitable for us, making it a win-win for us and our clients. Okay, I hope you like this video. I'm happy to share this information with you. I have a pricing course. It's a 7-hour course. So if you want to get into the deep weeds of this and understand pricing like you've never understood it before, you can take a look at my pricing course. You can also look at the Ultimate Freelance course, which is my 40-hour freelance course filled with tons of templates and information, 174 lessons, and tons of content that's gonna help your creative business. So check that out as well. And you can check out my book, The Psychology of Graphic Design Pricing, where I go into a lot more detail about the things we talked about right here. All right, thanks a lot. See you again soon. Oh, and hit the like button, subscribe, notifications, all the stuff you're supposed to hit. Thanks.